In a previous video, we've created the HTML structure for our horizontal feed widget, and in this video we are going to start creating the style sheet for it. The first thing I'm going to do is to close this index.html, go to our source SCSS directory, and here I'm going to create another SCSS file. I'm going to call it _settings. You don't have to use underscores, that's just my personal preference for anything that's going to be included within the app.css, but it's entirely up to you if you don't want to use this underscore here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to declare a few variables which will store colors, widths, heights, and some other data that we may reuse within our Sass files. The first variable will be white, and it will store hexadecimal value for the white color, so #FFF shorthand. Then we are going to create primary color, and this primary color I'm going to keep as A26331. You can see on the left hand side is this nice green color. Then I'm going to have secondary color, which I'll set as FA5D07, which is this nice orange. Then we are going to declare a variable storing the color of the body background, so body -bg, and this will be 4A, this dark gray. Body font color will be called body-color, and this one I'm going to set at white, so I could either type it again, or I can just reuse the variable which we already declared, so it's going to be white. The next one will be feed height, which will store the height of the widget on a desktop device, and I want it to be 3 rem. Then we are going to have feed background color, so BG, and it's going to be darken. We're going to darken the body color, so background body BG, by 10%. So it's going to be 10% darker than the original body color. Then feed color for the font is going to be white. Then we are going to have feed anchor color. So if we go back to our index.html, you can see here we've got this anchor. So what color we are going to associate with it, and I'm going to use primary color for this, which is going to be this nice green. Okay, then we're going to have feed header background, which will be secondary color, this orange one. Then feed header color, font color will be feed color, which is basically referring to this white color as well. And then we're going to have, if we just separate it with new line, feed button background, which will be primary color. Again, this green one, this is for the buttons on the right hand side, and then feed button color, and I want it to be feed color. Again, this is pointing to the white variable, which is represented by the white color. Okay, so these are all of the variables that I need for my Sass files. Next thing I'm going to do is open our app.scss, and I'm going to import the settings file. Now that I've got this settings file imported, the next thing I'm going to do is to create a new directory here called components. And this is where I'm going to keep all of my component files. So for the feed, I'm going to have horizontal feed component, as well as the file for some global styling for things like body, HTML, anchor, and so on. So let's just start with this one. The first file will be called _general.scss, and within this file what I'm going to start with is HTML, body, and app, div with the ID app. Here I'm going to say that I want margin for all of these elements set to 0. I want padding for all of these elements also set to 0, and then I want width to be 100% and height to be 100%. Okay, next thing, I want all of the elements, as well as the pseudo before and after elements, I want all of them to have box sizing set to border box. What that means, box sizing set at border box means that if you have an element which has padding and has full width 100%, its padding will be deducted from the container width rather than expanded by its value. Okay, Then we are going to set body only. And for body, I want font family to be set to Roboto Condensed. After this, if that font isn't found, then I want this to be Helvetica Nowhere. And then we have Arial. And lastly, sans serif if none of these fonts is available. Roboto Condensed, again, because if you open index.html, you'll see that I'm importing this Google font here. So I'm specifying Google family as Roboto Condensed. Next, we have body background color, which we'll use this body BG variable for. Then we have color, which we'll set to body color variable. Then we have padding, which we'll set at 1 rem, top and bottom, 0 on left and right. And I know obviously here I've used body with this declaration as well when we have padding set to 0, but here we simply overwrite it, write it, and have to later on separate all these tags to just have margin, width and height. We just do it this way and then we overwrite it within the next declaration. Okay, after this we are going to specify some styling for the anchor tags. By default, I want to make sure that none of them has any underline, so text decoration we're going to set to none, and default color for the anchor I will set to primary color, which is this nice green. Then after the body, we are going to create some styling. I'm just going to shift it up a little bit here so you can see a little bit clearer. For the class raw, which will wrap our horizontal feet, we are going to specify width at 100%, and then we're going to say maximum width. However, we want no more than 70 rem. So if we have mobile device, the row will fill in the entire screen, but if we on a desktop, make sure that it's no wider than 70 rems. And 1 rem is roughly about 16 pixels if you're not familiar with rems yet. Okay, then margin, we are going to set 0 from top and bottom, auto from left and right, making sure that this element that's going to reside within this raw element will be centered on a page. Then we have padding, top 0, bottom 0, and then 0.8 rem on left and right. So 0.8 rems left and right, top and bottom, just 0. We don't want any padding. Okay, and that's everything within this general.scss file. I'm going to remove this redundant space, save the file, close it, and we can now import this file within our app.scss file, going to components directory, and there we have general. As you can see, these files are actually with the underscore, but SAS automatically knows that even if there is underscore, we just provide the name without it and it knows which file it's going to be. Okay, so our app.scss can now be closed as well as settings.scss. Let's open index.html and wrap our horizontal feet with the div with the class raw, so we know that this div is going to be centered on a page and it's not going to be wider than this 70 rems on desktop. Okay, now that we've wrapped it, it's all ready for the next video.